Hi guys, this week I wanted to talk about addictions and urge surfing, so overcoming cravings. That actually is a dual way that you can use to get over multiple range of things. So when we look at aggression, when we look at mental illness, anxiety, PTSD, reactions and responses. So perhaps you're, doing risky behaviors, that kind of thing. It's a really good one to use for a bunch of things. So I wanted to kind of talk about that today. You guys know about addiction. I mean, you've got behavioral addictions and you've also got substance addictions. So the difference is behavior is an action. So it's something like gambling, food, codependency, and then you've like work, sex, those kinds of things. And then you've got substances, which is something that actually affects your brain drastically, and you have to actually put it into your body. So it's, like alcohol, prescriptions, methamphetamine, that kind of thing. So when we go into what addiction is, how do you know? How do you know that you're actually falling into addiction? So addiction is a persistent compulsive dependence on a behavior or substance which alters mood and leaves lasting negative effects on your life. So when we think about persistence, that is the difference. Persistence and compulsive is the difference between someone who perhaps is acting out a habit and someone who is actually further than a habit and they are now addicted. I'm going to go into just a quick list of what happens when you're intoxicated and what happens in the withdrawal, which will give you guys an idea on why we actually need to go through urge surfing. We need to get some tools to put in place because it's actually a complete change in our body. So intoxication, it creates mood elevation, which is a rise in dopamine. It creates sedation and euphoria. So that's a rise in serotonin, which we know we need to be healthy. Otherwise, if we have a decrease in serotonin, we'll be depressed. That's what medications and things like that do. They replace the serotonin that we're not giving to ourselves. So then we get memory disruption, which is actually L-glutamic acid that goes down, and that creates a rise in epinephrine, creates hypertension. And then we have disinhibition, sedation, loss of balance, which is caused by a rise in GABA. So then when we look at withdrawal, GABA decreases, which results in the opposite: anxiety, seizures, insomnia. You get a double rise in epinephrine because your body's quite kind of, it's freaking out. It's like, why is this happening? And you get hypertension and tachycardia. And then you get a rise in glutamic acid. It's difficult to say that. Delirium and seizures comes from that. You get decreased serotonin, which causes mood regulation and insomnia. And then you get decreased dopamine, which causes dysphoria. And as we all know, dopamine, is, where is it? I've got some information here about dopamine. It causes Parkinson's symptoms in people. I wrote it down somewhere. Oh, here we go. A dopamine deficiency causes Parkinson's-like symptoms, which is a slow reaction time. It also causes anhedonia, which is a pleasure center and a dysfunction. And then a serotonin deficiency causes OCD-like symptoms, compulsive thoughts and behaviors, aggression, suicide, and you can also be impulsive and triggered easily. So that kind of puts it into perspective what using and withdrawals, and cessation, so quitting, will actually do to someone. Okie dokie. So the addiction cycle is fairly simple, but quite difficult in people's lives, obviously, right? So it's quite simple in the way that there's a trigger, so something has to happen. It's physical, emotional, mental, something has to happen. Then that craving comes. That craving is your body saying, we're going to fix this problem. Don't worry about it. We're going to cause that rise in serotonin. We're going to make you happy again. So that can be caused from a buildup of for weeks or months, which is called ritual, and then you go to the using, so you do your behavioral addiction or your substance addiction, and you partake in that. And then what comes after that is guilt and shame, and the cycle actually starts again. So here are two little slogans that I found that I thought were quite good. Everyone probably knows HALT, which is hungry, angry, lonely, tired, and thirsty. Now those 5 things can cause anyone to have a lowered mood, to lash out at their loved ones, to cause problems in their life. And the other one is BLASTO. Okay, so it's bored, lonely, angry, hungry, stressed, tired, and overwhelmed. Now we all can relate to feeling, one or all of those things at some point in our life, right? So we've got the cycle of change here. This puts into perspective on if you want anything to change in your life, you've got to look at this. So pre-contemplation. Pre-contemplative change is when you're actually unaware there's a problem. So you're just kind of ignoring it. You're like, yeah, no, everything's fine. I know I seem unhappy, and my behaviors are causing a lot of problems in my life, but I don't really want to address it because I'm not ready. Then you've got contemplation. So contemplative change is when you're aware of the problem and you got a desire to change. You actually want to. And then you go into preparation. So a lot of people think that you can go from contemplative change to action, but you actually need to prepare, So preparation is an intent to take action. And then you go from action, which is practices, the desired behaviors. So you look at the behaviors that you actually want to change and you start to make those changes. Then there's maintenance. So maintenance is about, the tools that you have found through everything that you've been through your addiction, through your recovery. If you've got mental illness, what worked, therapy perhaps, if it's addiction, sponsor, meetings, if you maybe went to rehab, you might have learnt some tools in that as well. And then you go through reinforcing changes. So reinforcing changes is about a lifestyle change, a mindset change, self-care, people, places, and things. We've really got to be careful to avoid, because triggers will come up. We will get upset, we will be stressed, there will be things that come up in our lives, and that is totally normal. Anxiety will come, and that is totally normal too, but we need to arm ourselves with tools that we can help ourselves through that. Okay, so urge surfing. Here are a few tips on how to kind of get through urges or anxiety attacks or aggression, any of that stuff. So we can look at a grounding exercise using hot or cold touch. So if you get some ice cubes, put it in a cup, and then you might get some hot water and put it in another cup, and you swap between the two while focusing on your breathing. So you would breathe in for 4 seconds and out for 8 seconds, and just try to remain calm. That actually gets us into our body and out of our heads. Okay, so distraction. Look at any form of distraction so you can surf the urge. You want to try and pause, surf the urge, breathe through it, and come to a point where you're actually making a logical decision, not a reaction or a response, out of our brain, who's not actually working completely at that point in time, because it's just trying to fill that need that it thinks it needs to make itself happy, or to make itself calm, or to even protect itself. Okay, so laughing. Do something funny that, go hang out with a friend or whatever, or watch a movie or something that makes you laugh, because even if you fake laugh, I mean, if you guys ever tried laughing yoga, if you fake laugh, your brain doesn't know the difference. It will tell you you're happy. So do it, laugh. Okay, get more sleep. Please get more sleep. 8 hours a night means that you will function so much better. And when you are tired, you will look for something to wake you up. And we all know, you know, what we can find ourselves doing, acting aggressively or hanging out with, you know, people that maybe we wouldn't if we're tired, and we're kind of lacking in the ability to think normally. Okay, get moving. So exercise is a great one. If you're having an anxiety attack, if you're craving something, go for a walk, get moving, you know. It's a perfect way to get the endorphins pumping and your body out of that moment. Socialize. Hang out with people who are healthy, who are going to be positive and promote whatever you're going through, and you can get out whatever is going on. Because like I said, triggers come from something. We need to talk about it. Reduce stress. So whatever is causing you stress, try and find a way that you can problem solve through that, you know? Remove yourself from the situation. So if you're somewhere that's triggering you, leave, you know, just leave. Or go to the toilet, take a break. If you can't leave, come back, you know, after you've centered yourself. Call your sponsor. Okay, and if you don't have a sponsor because you're not in recovery, or you know, you've got mental health problems, call a friend. You know, that's something you can talk to someone, talk it through. Then they might be able to give you a rational response. Sip water slowly. So that is something that really does put everything into perspective. You can have a breather, and it gives your body that kind of cold feeling that takes the intense emotions away for at least a moment. Breathe. Just remember to breathe. And when you're doing it correctly, your shoulders won't rise, okay? So that means that you're not forcing it. If you have to start out by forcing it, that's okay. But 4 seconds in, 8 seconds out will get your head back to where you want it to be, thinking rationally. Okay, do a grounding exercise. Now, when I talk about grounding exercises, you guys know it's our touch on something physical. So your feet on the ground, your palms together, you know, go for a walk, do something that grounds you. So yeah, back up against the wall, anything. Be creative. If you are, you know, in an emotional situation, do something that, you know, you find exciting. Photography, draw, you know, do a visualization kind of board or something like that you can put up on your wall to say how amazing you are. You know, do something with your kids, creative, play a game, whatever it is. Listen to music. Music actually has an amazing impact on our brain. You know, it's a really good thing to look at. Listen to something that makes you happy or lets you express yourself. Watch comedy, like I talked about the laughing situation. Focus on the pause between every single thing, that trigger, the action, the habits, the rituals, the using. There is a pause. There is a chance to change your decision. Creative write. So creative writing is a way to get all of your emotions and things out, and also to reflect later if you have somewhere to put it. DeviantArt is a good place to pop your writing, and you can look later and go, oh, my goodness, I've come so far. I do all the time. I look back and I think, wow, I didn't even know I was that miserable. Anyway, watch a movie. Accept the feelings. I've got someone at the door, so I will continue this in a moment. Accept the feelings and a hot shower. Be mindful. Okay, thanks guys. Bye.